On board the Galactic Council's flagship Voyager Sigma, the atmosphere was charged with an electric tension. Commander Tark of Valuna, a seasoned officer, stared at the swirling holograms depicting Earth. Around him, specialists from various planets murmured, analyzing the data streaming in. "Is this accurate?" Tark asked, his voice betraying a hint of skepticism as he pointed to the readings showing Earth's dense and perilous environments. "Yes, Commander," replied Dr. Yelene, the chief scientist. "These scans show extreme biodiversity, high gravitational forces, and volatile climatic conditions. It fits the criteria for a death world." Tark turned to his communications officer. "Has there been any attempt to contact the inhabitants?" "None, sir. The planet uses primitive communication technology. We risk exposure or unintended confrontation," the officer reported. Just then, the door to the command room slid open with a soft hiss, and General Horus entered, a towering figure known for his strategic acumen. His eyes immediately locked onto the holographic images of Earth. "We can't ignore this," Horus declared, folding his arms across his chest. "A death world in an uncharted sector could hold vital secrets or pose a significant threat. We need boots on the ground." Tark nodded, his mind racing. "Agreed, but we proceed with caution. Prepare a reconnaissance team. I want our best on this." In the depths of Earth's Atlantic forest, James Carter, a former Special Forces operative turned survival expert, was blissfully unaware of the galactic spotlight on his home planet. He trekked through the dense undergrowth, his boots sinking slightly into the moist earth. "Jack, hand me the GPS unit. We need to mark this new trail," James called out to his partner, who was examining a rare orchid. Jack, equally rugged and seasoned, passed the device to James, brushing a leaf off his shoulder. "You think we're the first humans to step here in decades?" "Most likely," James replied, his eyes scanning the thick canopy. "Places like these remind you of how wild Earth really is." The quiet of the moment was suddenly shattered by a shrill sound from above, a signal from their makeshift camp. "That's the alarm. Someone's at our camp," Jack said, his voice tight with urgency. James nodded, and they both hurried back, navigating through the undergrowth with practiced ease. As they approached the camp, they saw a small drone hovering, scanning their equipment. "Damn it, poachers are worse," Jack wondered aloud, reaching for his binoculars. "Or something else?" James mused, observing the drone's make. It didn't match any design he recognized. A sleek, almost ethereal appearance, unlike the bulkier human-made models. "Let's take it down. It might give us some answers," James decided, pulling a compact crossbow from his pack. A precise shot later, the drone was on the ground. As they examined the downed drone, James noticed unusual symbols on its hull, clearly not of human origin. "Jack, this isn't from Earth. We've got bigger problems than poachers," James concluded, a sense of foreboding settling over him. Back on the Voyager Sigma, Tark received the reconnaissance team's first report. "They've encountered human technology and taken down one of our drones," the analyst reported, displaying the footage of 2 humans with the drone. "Interesting," Tark mused. "They're resourceful and quick. Prepare for a potential hostile environment. Earth isn't going to be straightforward." As the team on the ship braced for complexities, James and Jack prepared to defend their home, unaware of the full scale of the galactic forces aligning against them. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the very limits of human ingenuity and courage. In the dense foliage of the Amazon rainforest, James Carter and his companion Jack prepared for the unknown. The alien drone they had captured was like nothing they had ever seen, its technology far advanced beyond human capabilities. They knew that they were dealing with something extraordinary, and the realization had set them on edge. Back at their makeshift base, a tarp-covered area concealed by thick underbrush, Jack worked on the drone, attempting to bypass its security. "This tech is way out of our league, James," Jack murmured, his brow furrowed in concentration. "But if I can just crack this encryption, maybe we can find out who sent it." James nodded, keeping watch. "Keep at it. I'm going to scout the perimeter. Something tells me that drone wasn't just lost." As James patrolled the area, the silence of the rainforest was eerie. Every rustle in the underbrush seemed amplified, every call of the distant wildlife a potential alarm. Meanwhile, orbiting Earth, Commander Tark briefed his elite unit of reconnaissance specialists. "Your mission is to gather intelligence on the human response to our presence and assess any threat level. Remember, this is a death world. Expect extreme hostility from both the environment and the inhabitants." The unit, composed of beings from various hardened planets, nodded in understanding. They were trained for extreme conditions, but Earth's reputation made even the most seasoned among them uneasy. The team landed in a quieter region of the rainforest, some distance from James's camp. As they deployed, their leader, Sira of the Tavok, adjusted the environmental settings on her suit to Earth's oppressive humidity and heat. "Keep communications open and scanners active," Sira ordered. "We don't know what kind of creatures inhabit these lands." Back at the camp, Jack had a breakthrough. "James, come take a look at this," he called out, just as James returned from his patrol. "I've managed to access its navigation data. It looks like there are more of these drones, and something tells me they've got a base of operations nearby." James examined the data, his mind racing with tactical possibilities. "Let's find it. If they're here to study us, they'll be gathering data. We need to know what they're after." Equipped with the captured drone's data, James and Jack set out toward the coordinates that seemed to indicate the alien base. They moved silently, camouflaged by the foliage, their senses alert to any movement. As they approached the location, they spotted alien figures moving through the forest with cautious, calculated steps. The aliens were unlike any humans, their bodies slender and movements graceful, adapted to their own harsh worlds, but not to Earth's unpredictability. James signaled Jack to halt. "There. We're not alone in this game. Looks like we've got the upper hand for now. They haven't seen us yet." They watched as the aliens deployed strange devices, likely sensors or communication tools. James whispered, "Let's get closer. We need to hear what they're planning." As they edged nearer, hidden by the undergrowth, they caught snippets of conversation in a language they couldn't understand, but the tone was unmistakable, methodical, almost clinical. Suddenly, the ground beneath James gave way slightly, an unfortunate misstep on a brittle branch. The snapping sound sliced through the silence, and the alien team instantly turned towards the noise. "Human contact, prepare for engagement," Sira's voice rang out, clear and commanding. James and Jack, realizing their cover was blown, readied themselves. "Looks like the welcoming committee knows we're here," James said, his voice low and calm as they prepared to face their interstellar visitors head-on. The dense Amazonian undergrowth trembled with the sudden urgency of confrontation. James, Carter, and Jack positioned themselves strategically, using the dense foliage as cover. Across the clearing, the alien reconnaissance team swiftly formed a defensive perimeter, their advanced weaponry humming softly in the heavy air. James eyed the aliens, noting their swift, precise movements and the ease with which they adapted their formation. "Jack, these guys are trained, possibly military. We need to be extremely careful here." Jack nodded, signaling agreement while keeping his focus on the closest alien, who was manipulating a device that seemed to scan the area. "Any ideas on how to handle this?" "We need to communicate. Show them we're not a threat unless they make us one," James suggested, stepping forward slightly, hands raised in a universal gesture of peace. The alien leader, Sira, watched the humans emerge. Her translator device immediately began working, converting her words. "Identify yourselves. This planet is under observation by the Galactic Council." James, hearing the translated speech, responded calmly. "I'm James Carter, and this is Jack. We're not your enemies unless you give us a reason. We just want to know why you're here." Sira assessed James's posture and tone, her own body language neutral but alert. "We seek knowledge about your species in this world. Your planet is classified as a DeathWorld. It poses significant risks." Jack, with a skeptical glance, retorted, "And what does the Council plan to do about these risks?" The tension was palpable, as Sira paused before responding. "That depends on the threat level we assess from our observations." The standoff continued, with neither side willing to lower their guard completely. Meanwhile, back in the Council's orbital command, Commander Tark monitored the exchange, his face a mask of concern. "Keep the situation under control, Sira. We cannot afford a conflict with the natives." Back on Earth, James decided to take a risk. "Look, we know you're just doing your job, but so are we. We protect our home. How about we show you around, help you understand our world better? Maybe we can avoid any misunderstandings." Sira considered this for a moment, then nodded slightly. "Lead the way. But be warned, any sign of treachery will be met with force." As James and Jack led the alien team deeper into the jungle, they pointed out various dangerous plants and wildlife, explaining how humans have adapted to such a hostile environment. Sira and her team recorded everything, visibly impressed but still wary. Jack whispered to James as they walked, "Are we doing the right thing, helping them like this? It's better than starting a war we can't win," James replied quietly. Plus, this might give us some leverage later. The day wore on, and the jungle showcased its brutal splendor: venomous snakes, hidden predators, and treacherous terrain. The aliens' respect for human capabilities grew with every passing hour, their initial hostility tempered by the demonstration of human survival skills and respect for the natural world. As night approached, James proposed a temporary campsite. We'll continue in the morning. You'll see, there's much more to Earth than threats. Syra agreed, signaling her team to set up a secure perimeter. We will see what tomorrow brings, James Carter. That night, under the canopy of an alien starlit sky, both groups remained alert, each contemplating the fragile thread of tentative trust that had begun to form between them. The first trial was set on a remote, barren planet chosen by the Galactic Council for its harsh conditions and unpredictable weather patterns. As the team prepared to disembark from the ship, Jake tried to boost morale. Remember, everyone, it's not just about surviving out there. It's about demonstrating our capacity to adapt and work together under pressure, he said, checking his gear one last time. The environment they stepped into was unlike anything on Earth. The sky was a permanent dusk, cast in shades of deep orange and violet, and the ground beneath their boots was spongy, composed of some organic material that wasn't immediately identifiable. As they set up their temporary base, a holographic figure of Vorin appeared. Welcome to your first challenge, the projection announced. You must reach the beacon located 30 kilometers north from your current position within 3 days, without using any of your advanced technologies. Your journey will be monitored. Begin when ready. The group started their trek, navigating through rocky terrains and thick, vine-like growths that seemed to move slightly as they passed. Tara, walking beside Jake, muttered, You'd think they'd at least give us a map. Jake chuckled softly. Where would be the fun in that? Their path led them to a series of challenges. First, they encountered a wide river with rapid currents. The team had to construct a makeshift raft using the alien vegetation, which surprisingly bound together like strong rope. Next, they faced a creature resembling a large feline with scales instead of fur. It blocked their path, eyes glowing in the dim light. Jake decided they should try to distract the creature rather than confront it. Using some of their limited food supplies, they managed to lure it away long enough to escape. As night fell, they gathered in a cave for shelter. Jake took this time to discuss their progress. We're doing well, but we need to keep up the pace. Let's make sure we're ready to move at first light. The second day brought its own set of difficulties. A sudden storm forced them to find shelter again, delaying their journey. As they huddled together, Jake used the opportunity to learn more about his team's thoughts and fears. I know this is tough, but think about what we're showing them, Jake encouraged. Every step we take is proof that humans aren't to be underestimated. On the final day, exhausted but determined, they sighted the beacon, a towering structure emitting a soft blue light. The relief was palpable, but as they approached, an unexpected challenge arose. A chasm, 20 meters wide, stood between them and their goal. With no materials left to build a bridge and time running out, Jake rallied the team for one final push. We can do this. Let's pool our ideas. There has to be a way. Inspired by the earlier creature encounter, they used their remaining resources to fashion grappling hooks from the strong, vine-like growths. One by one, they managed to swing across the chasm, cheering each other on with each successful crossing. As they activated the beacon, signaling the end of the trial, Jake felt a surge of pride. They had faced the unknown with ingenuity and courage, hallmarks of what it meant to be human. Back aboard the Council ship, Vorin greeted them. Congratulations, you have passed the first trial impressively. Your adaptability and teamwork have been noted. As they returned to their quarters, weary but exhilarated, Jake reflected on the day's events. They had not only survived, but had thrived, demonstrating the indomitable spirit of humanity. He knew the upcoming trials would only be harder, but this victory strengthened his belief in their ability to face whatever challenges came next. In the dense jungles of the Amazon, under the canopy of towering ancient trees, James Carter and Jack orchestrated their response to the Galactic Council's escalating threat. Utilizing their deep knowledge of the terrain, they began to mobilize a network of local survivalists and ex-military comrades, leveraging guerrilla tactics that were second nature to them. Everyone, listen up. James addressed the gathered group at their concealed base camp, a flicker of urgency in his tone. The visitors from the stars aren't here just to observe. They're planning to lock down Earth, to control it. We can't let that happen. Jack stepped forward, distributing maps and digital devices. We've marked the positions where the aliens have set up their tech. These are our targets. We hit them fast, hit them hard, and vanish before they know what's happening. The team nodded, a mixture of determination and apprehension in their eyes. They were skilled, but this was unlike any opponent they had faced before. Meanwhile, Syra and her team were advancing their own preparations, unaware of the impending human counterattack. Their technology began to hum into life, creating a perimeter that would soon encase this part of the Earth in a controlled barrier. "Ensure the containment field is stable," Syra commanded, watching as the alien devices lit up, their lights strange and stark against the natural greenery around them. Back at their camp, James and his team were gearing up. They wore camouflaged gear, their faces smeared with mud for added concealment. Each member carried lightweight, high-impact weaponry suitable for quick, stealthy strikes. As night fell, the team set out. The jungle, alive with the sounds of nocturnal creatures, masked their movements. They approached the first site, a small clearing where the aliens had installed one of their larger machines. "On my mark," James whispered into his comm, his eyes locked on the alien guards patrolling the area. Timing was everything. "Now!" His voice was a sharp whisper. The team surged forward, disabling the guards with non-lethal force before planting explosives on the alien machinery. Explosions shattered the night, sending birds soaring into the sky as flames lit up the dark. James's team retreated swiftly, disappearing into the underbrush as alien reinforcements arrived. Syra, receiving reports of the attacks, realized the situation was spiraling out of control. "Increase security. Deploy more patrols. We can't let them disrupt the containment protocol," she ordered, frustration evident in her voice. Her respect for the humans' capabilities grew, mixed now with a wary caution. Throughout the night, similar skirmishes erupted around other alien sites. James and his team moved like shadows, striking unpredictably and retreating into the wilderness. As dawn broke, James surveyed the damage done. They had managed to disable several key alien installations, buying more time to rally further resistance. "We've shown them that we're not easy targets," James told his team, a grim satisfaction in his voice. "But this is just the beginning. They'll come back harder." Jack, checking his gear, nodded in agreement. "We'll be ready for them. Earth isn't just our home, it's our fortress. We'll keep fighting." The Galactic Council, forced to reassess their strategy, realized that Earth's inhabitants were not the primitive threat they had presumed. The council members convened in an emergency session, the failure of their initial containment efforts a heavy shadow over their proceedings. "We must understand these humans better before we proceed," one counselor argued. "Their ability to adapt and counteract our technology is unprecedented." As both sides prepared for what was quickly escalating into a full-blown conflict, Earth remained defiant, a beacon of untamed spirit, unwilling to bow under alien control. The struggle for Earth's autonomy was far from over, and James Carter stood at the forefront, leading the charge for humanity's freedom. In the early hours before dawn, under the dense canopy of the Amazon, James Carter and his team gathered to plan their most audacious move yet. The Galactic Council's forces, rattled by the humans' guerrilla tactics, had begun to consolidate their technology into more defensible positions, making them harder targets, but also more critical to the alien strategy. "Here's the plan," James began, pointing to a digital map projected from his rugged device onto the side of an old shipping container that served as their command center. "The aliens have moved their primary control module to a central location here," he said, indicating a spot deep in the forest marked by a pulsating red dot. "If we take that out, we disrupt their entire operation on Earth." Jack, looking over the map with a tactical eye, added, "It's heavily guarded, more than anything we've hit before. We'll need a distraction, something big to draw their forces out." Nods of agreement went around as plans took shape, blending the urgent need for action with the cold calculus of risk. They decided on a two-pronged attack. While one team created a diversion by attacking a lesser target, James would lead the main assault on the control module. Hours later, as the first light filtered through the trees, the diversion team moved out. They struck quickly at a smaller alien outpost, using homemade explosives to cause chaos. As expected, this drew a significant portion of the alien forces away from the main site. Meanwhile, James, Jack, and their strike team approached the central location. The area was fortified with alien technology that seemed to hum with a strange energy, casting eerie lights between the trees. "Stay sharp," James whispered as they moved closer, the weight of their task heavy upon them. They encountered outer defenses, which they dismantled with precise, quiet efficiency, thanks to their preparation and reconnaissance. As they reached the control module, a sleek structure of unknown metals and pulsating lights, James felt a surge of adrenaline. "Here we go," he muttered, setting charges around the structure. The team worked quickly, knowing they had only minutes before the diverted alien forces would realize the ruse. Just as they were setting the last charge, an alarm blared through the alien camp. "They know we're here," Jack shouted over the noise. "Detonate now and move out." James hit the detonator. A series of explosions rocked the area, sending shockwaves through the ground and tearing the alien control module apart. Flames and debris filled the air as they ran back through the forest, dodging returning alien patrols. Back at the alien command on the Voyager Sigma, Sierra watched the destruction of their primary control module with disbelief. "The humans have exceeded all our predictions," she reported grimly to Commander Tark and General Horus via a secure communication. "Their adaptability and determination are formidable." Tark frowned, his thoughts racing. "This changes everything. We underestimated their capability for organized resistance. It's time we reconsider our approach." General Horus, known for his rigid adherence to protocol, was silent for a moment before replying, "Prepare to open negotiations with the humans. We need a new strategy that does not involve outright warfare." Back on Earth, as James and his team regrouped, they were aware that their victory was significant, but not decisive. They had bought Earth a respite, perhaps even some respect from their would-be conquerors. "We've shown them we can fight," James said to his weary but elated team. "Now let's see if they're willing to talk." He knew the battle was far from over, but for the first time, there was a glimmer of hope that it could end on their terms. As dawn broke over the Amazon, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, James Carter and his team regrouped at their base camp, their bodies weary, but spirits lifted by their recent success. The destruction of the Galactic Council's primary control module had sent ripples throughout the alien forces, disrupting their operations and, more importantly, shaking their confidence. "Listen up, everyone," James began, addressing his assembled team. "Last night's operation was a message. We're not just defending our turf, we're pushing back." Jack, his face smeared with dirt and exhaustion, scanned the group. "We've got their attention, that's for sure. But this isn't the time to ease up. We need to be ready for what comes next." Meanwhile, aboard the Voyager Sigma, the mood was somber. Sierra convened with Commander Tark and General Horus in a hastily arranged meeting to address the unfolding situation on Earth. "We have underestimated the humans at every turn," Sierra admitted, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. "Their strategic capabilities, their resolve. We are not dealing with a primitive species, but a highly adaptable and intelligent one." Commander Tark, his expression grave, nodded in agreement. "The destruction of the control module has forced us to reassess our approach. We need to understand their motivations, their culture. Perhaps it's time to engage with them, learn from them instead of attempting to subjugate." General Horus, though reluctant, conceded, "Prepare for diplomatic engagement. We will extend an offer to meet with their leaders under a flag of truce. It's clear that a show of force is not sufficient." Back on Earth, as James and his team prepared for the possibility of further conflict, a different kind of preparation was underway. An alien communication device, recovered from the debris of the control module, suddenly activated, its screen flickering to life. "James, you need to see this," Jack called out, holding up the device. The screen displayed a message in English, a direct result of the alien's hasty but efficient adaptation to human language. The message was an invitation for a meeting, under a flag of truce, to discuss terms of engagement and potential peace. The coordinates for the meeting were provided, along with a time. "This could be a trap," one team member muttered, voicing the general unease. James considered this, his eyes narrowing in thought. "Or it's our chance to end this on favorable terms. We need to take it, but with every precaution." The decision made, James selected a small team to accompany him to the meeting point, a neutral location away from their base. As they prepared, he couldn't help but reflect on the bizarre turn of events that had brought them here, fighting an interstellar council over the fate of their planet. At the designated meeting point, James and his team arrived to find Sierra and her delegation already waiting. The aliens stood solemnly, their expressions unreadable. "James Carter," Sierra greeted, stepping forward. "We come in peace for real dialogue." James nodded, his stance firm but open. "Let's talk then. What does the Council want with Earth?" Sierra paused, choosing her words carefully. Earth is a strategic asset, not just because of its location, but because of its biodiversity and the resilience of its inhabitants. We hoped to learn, to incorporate what makes you strong into the Council, but we see now that partnership cannot be forced. The revelation stunned James, but it made sense given their actions. And what are you proposing now? We propose a mutual understanding, a treaty. Earth will remain sovereign, but we ask to share knowledge, to learn from each other, Syra explained. As they discussed terms, James realized that the day marked a significant shift, not just for Earth, but for the galaxy. The Earth had defended its right to exist among the stars, not as a conquered territory, but as an equal. This new alliance would be fragile, fraught with challenges, but it was a beginning. As the first rays of sunlight warmed the meeting site, it symbolized a new dawn, a new era for Earth within the vast cosmic community. As the early morning light filtered through the dense canopy of the Amazon, reflecting a kaleidoscope of green on an unusually quiet clearing, a sense of solemnity permeated the air. James Carter and his team, alongside the alien representatives led by Syra, prepared for what was being termed as the decisive negotiation that would dictate the future relationship between Earth and the Galactic Council. The setup was simple, yet charged with the gravity of the occasion. A large, flat rock served as the negotiating table, surrounded by both human and alien delegates. James, who had become an unexpected symbol of Earth's resistance and strategic acumen, took his place at the table, his expression resolute but open to dialogue. Syra initiated the discussion, her tone reflecting newfound respect for the humans. James Carter, we've witnessed the capabilities and the determination of your people. It's clear that any further conflict would be detrimental to all involved. The Council proposes a cessation of hostilities and the commencement of a cooperative relationship. James, taking a moment to glance at his team, responded, "We're prepared to end the fighting, but under terms that ensure Earth's sovereignty and security. We seek a partnership, not patronage." The talks unfolded with intense deliberation. Earth's representatives argued for strict guarantees that would protect the planet's autonomy, while the Galactic Council sought assurances that Earth would not become a future threat or a wild card in the cosmic order. As they neared the conclusion of the negotiations, a breakthrough came. James proposed an innovative solution: a joint Earth Council advisory body that would oversee the implementation of the treaty terms and facilitate the exchange of knowledge and resources without compromising Earth's independence. Syra considered the proposal intently, then finally nodded in agreement. This joint advisory body could indeed serve as a bridge between our civilizations, fostering understanding and preventing conflicts. The final terms were etched into a digital treaty, which both parties signed under the watchful eyes of their respective teams. The agreement included provisions for Earth to share its rich biodiversity and survival strategies in exchange for advanced technology and a place in the Galactic Assembly, marking a new era of interstellar diplomacy and cooperation. After the signing, as the Assembly dispersed, James and Syra walked together for a few moments, reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. "You have shown us that Earth is not just a place of danger, but a cradle of formidable will and intelligence," Syra remarked, her voice carrying a tone of genuine admiration. James smiled slightly. "And you've shown us that even in the vastness of space, dialogue and mutual respect can prevail over conflict." As the alien delegation prepared to depart, promising to return with ratifications from the Galactic Council, James looked back at his team, who were quietly celebrating their hard-won peace. They had faced the unknown, and not only survived, but carved out a future for Earth that was brighter than any could have imagined. The treaty was a testament to Earth's tenacity and a beacon for its future, signaling to the galaxy that Earth was a planet of warriors turned peacemakers, capable of defending its sovereignty while extending a hand in cosmic friendship. As the sun rose higher, casting long shadows on the forest floor, James felt a deep sense of accomplishment and hope. Earth had stood its final stand, not with weapons, but with words and wisdom, marking its place among the stars as a respected and equal member of the galactic community.